Hello students, Ms. Tron here. I just wanted to show you a little PowerPoint about collage, and then I'm going to show you how to do a collage, and I'm happy to see you today. So here we go. So collage is cutting and gluing to make art. And I want to talk about a few collage artists. One is a guy named Romare Bearden. He's an African-American artist known for figurative collages. And when we use the word figurative in art, I know that's a fancy word, it just means showing people or faces, figures, showing people or faces. I really like this collage by Romare Bearden because it has a lot of personality. There's people interacting with each other, but it's very interesting. It looks like he may have worked from cutting out faces from magazines or photos. There's a lot going on in this art, a lot of relationships, a lot of people living together. Romare Bearden was an artist from New York. So here's another piece of art for him. Romare Bearden did a lot of collages based on jazz. And I just really love how he designs the faces in his work and how all of these people seem like they go together. This is another piece of art by Romare Bearden. So he cut out various types of paper and glued them down to make this piece of art about jazz. Okay, so Henry Matisse is another artist. And what happened to Henry Matisse is he got very sick. He had at one time painted and sculpted clay, but he got sick and he was bedridden. So he worked on cutting out papers, and then he had assistants glue them to other pieces of paper. So he is known more for abstract collages, and abstract is more about color, shape, and composition, not so much about the human form. This piece of art is really nice by by Henry Matisse. I see some, if you can follow the pointer, I see some organic shapes. I also see some geometric shapes, these little squares and rectangles behind the other smaller pieces of paper. So that's pretty neat. Let's see what we got going on here. He really gets into these leaf cutouts, these kind of abstracted organic leaf shapes to some degree. Now this actually does look like it could be part of a face, but it's abstracted. It's not extremely realistic. Oh, I noticed something about this piece of art. We have green and red together. Those are complementary colors. We also have some neutrals, white and black. Okay, so now we are going to make a collage. So let me get back over here and we are going to start creating. So first thing you want to do is go into color scheme. Here's my other colors that I was just able to find. So you might want to think about a color scheme. You might want to think about what colors go together. I mean, you could do a cool color scheme with green and blue and where's my violet and violet together. That would be considered. So those are cool colors. You could do those together. You could do your warm colors together, your orange and yellow and red. That's a color scheme. Maybe you want to work with some neutrals, some white and black, browns and grays. Those are the neutral color schemes. Maybe you want to do something that's a little bit more high contrast. Maybe you want to do complementary colors. Maybe I want to do red and green together, or yellow and violet. That's another complementary color pair. Or maybe I want to do blue and orange. That's another color pair. I was thinking about, I was looking through my paper and I decided what I wanted to do was a monochromatic color scheme. And monochromatic is a really large, fancy word, but if we break it down, it means one color. So we're going to do monochromatic, one color plus black and white. Okay, so whenever we're doing monochromatic, we can do black and white and gray as well. I forgot to write that down. Black, white, and then you'll pick one color. It can be any color you want. It could be purple with black and white. It could be yellow with black and white, but you'll pick one color. And then you'll also try to find tints of that color. So I'm choosing to use blue for my one color. So my tints will be color plus white. So my tints will be light blues, because if we add white to blue, it's going to become a light blue. That's a tint. And also blue plus black. That's a shade. Whenever we add a color to black, it's considered a shade. So I'm going to find shades that are dark blues. And so that's what I'm going to work on, is a monochromatic color scheme. I'm starting out with black paper to glue my other stuff to, but you can pick whatever you want. Now, before we begin, one thing I want you to think about is you need to get out a pair of scissors. That's very important, so make sure you have a pair of scissors. Now, if you don't have a pair of scissors, you could just tear paper to make your art. Actually, hold on. I'm going to turn off this light. It seems to be interfering with my screen. So let me turn off these lights a little bit more, because having the Sorry about that, friends. I was just noticing with my hands going back and forth like that, it was, with the other lights on in the house, it was seeming to, in the room I'm in, with the other lights on, it was seeming to cause too much contrast. So we will work with this. Okay, so now what I'm going to start doing is looking at my papers and maybe just starting to cut out some stuff. I saw this flyer, and one cool thing you can do in your collage if you want to is you can cut out words, you know? You can even cut out letters to make other words. I like this idea of discovery. So I'm going to use discovery, this word discovery on my collage. So you can cut out words if you want to. Now, if you don't have scissors, you can tear the paper. Maybe you're going to tear the paper to get what you want. You could even cut out different letters to create new words. Let's see if I can do something with this. So I could create out these letters, and maybe this is about family, and maybe it's about somebody's son. So I could take different letters and use them in my art if I want to. I might even be able to find the letters of my name, perhaps. Okay, so I decided I'm working with the black, the white, the blue, and the light blue, the dark blue, and the middle blue. So basically a few different values of blue. And gray too. This is kind of neat. I like the shape of this. Now, when you're working today, you can cut out shapes. And there's a lot of ways to get your shapes. One thing is just to cut out whatever kind of shape you want. Now, if you want something that's a more specific shape, like maybe I want to cut out a geometric shape, my suggestion for that is to get a pencil or a pen and draw your shape and then cut it out. It could be anything. It could be a diamond maybe. So if you want a specific shape, draw it neatly and then cut it out. Now, one neat thing that this is going to do is it's going to create a positive and a negative shape. So I have this, the positive shape is the shape itself. This outside area in art is called the negative shape. It's outside of what you actually cut out. So this is kind of like, I get two shapes in one, basically. If I keep the outside, I get two shapes in one. So that's one way I could cut. Another way I could choose to cut is to cut organically or kind of in a free-form way. Let me get my other little group of paper out over here. So sometimes you can just cut by just letting your scissors go in whatever way they want. If I'm thinking like those Matisse sort of leaves, maybe I want to cut back and forth like this. Maybe I just want to take my scissors on an adventure around my paper, okay? Kind of cutting in and cutting out. And I'm just kind of rather, for those younger kids, what I want to say is, when you cut, point your scissors forward. Don't go around and point your scissors backward toward your body. It's much easier to turn the paper as you cut. So if I'm turning the paper, but my scissors are always pointed forward, that is actually a safer way to cut, and it's an easier way to cut. Okay, so I'm just going ahead and cutting out this kind of Matisse-like organic leaf that we kind of saw earlier. So that's something kind of neat I could do. Let's think about something else. Sometimes you don't have to cut. I have this little doily. I don't even know if I want to cut that. I might just keep that as a circular piece, and if I were to glue it on top of something colorful or even not colorful, I'm going to see the other color come through it. Now this is just extra. If you don't have this at home, don't go out and get it. It's just something I happen to have. So let me see if I can find something that would be a darker blue, that would be more of a blue plus black, a shade. I'm noticing that this is a little bit darker. Maybe I'll use that next. Let me grab this, and I'm going to use this. This is nice and high contrast. I've got that dark blue plus the white lettering, and that white lettering might just become part of my pattern or my design. So here's another thing you can do. If you fold a paper and freeform cut it, you might end up with something sort of interesting. So I can freeform cut, or I could cut more specific shapes out of stuff if that's what I want to do. So let's see what I got now. That's kind of interesting. Maybe I'll use that in my art somewhere. And look, what I always tell the students, and maybe some of you that were in my class last year remember this, sometimes the leftovers, what's left over is just as interesting as what was cut out. Now, for those of you that do not have scissors, you could also rip paper, okay? So, and sometimes when we rip, by the way, this is what I would consider a tint. This is a blue with more white in it, so it's a tint. But I can just kind of like rip my paper a little bit. And sometimes when you rip it, you're going to get kind of what is more of a soft edge from ripping. So that might be something worth trying out too in your collage. You could do cutting and gluing if you want to. I'm just kind of tearing this a little bit here and there, trying to come up with some good stuff here. I'm trying to get a very interesting pile of different things. Let me see if there's any blue here. Huh. Our most entertaining bundle. Okay, let's see. Well, maybe I could cut that out and use it because it is light blue. You know? I don't know. Maybe the whole idea of entertaining discovery. I don't know. That could be some interesting words to add to my art. I've also got these tints, these light blues. Maybe I'll cut those out and do something with them. You guys might have remembered from when I showed you the sculpture, if you could do a zigzag fold on something, remember that back and forth fold, you can do that maybe and then cut out little pieces from the side of it, and that can be something interesting you can incorporate into your work maybe. Ooh, so I've made it more interesting just by cutting it. All right, so let's see if there's any other blues that I like, or maybe even some other neutrals. Ooh, here's this dog, this little puppy, but guess what? This puppy has got a nice texture to it. I can even tell in the art here that there's a little bit of fuzziness to it. That could be neat. It's still in the neutral scheme, so it's just got such a nice texture to it. I kind of want to do something with that. I don't know why, but it's speaking to me, so I guess I better work with it. And you might discover as you cut or tear things out, ooh, that's very interesting. What would it be like to have a little eye in my art? I also see this nice blue here that I want to use. So I'm starting to get some stuff together. All right. So I actually decided, because this black is so black and it's causing like the light on my camera to change, I think what I'm going to do now is get out a piece of white paper to glue my stuff to. And so that's going to be the next thing. Oh, by the way, I also have this. I just randomly found this in my art supplies. It's like some glitter sticker. That's something else, you know, if you have something else like ribbon you want to add to your collage, or if you want to glue down some ribbon, or maybe you want to glue down some yarn, or something else that you find that's flat that you can glue down that'll add to your art, that'd be great. Maybe some cardboard. It's really up to you. Okay, so now I have my paper. And when we're collaging, and it looks like now I need to brighten this up a bit. Let me see and adjust again. Okay, let's make it a little brighter. There we go. That looks a little bit better than before. Very bright. So now what we got going on is you're going to get out the place where your art is going to be affixed. And I want to share a big word with you. Okay, that word's composition. In art, composition just means putting the parts of your art together in a way that's visually appealing, or something that looks good is basically what composition is. Arranging. So today I'm going to be thinking about these papers and arranging them in a way that's interesting to the eye. And I might play around with it. I might place some things down, and then maybe I'm going to move them around and keep thinking about it. I might play around with the angle of some of the elements on my art. I don't know. We'll just see how it goes. Now, if you do not have glue at home, what you can do is you don't necessarily have to glue your paper down. So if you have no glue or you have no glue stick, just arrange your paper as you wish and then take a photo of it and send it to my email address, okay? So I'm just going to start playing around with this and think about what this is going to be. Entertaining discovery. Actually, I might just go with discovery. So I kind of like that at an angle. It seems, I could put it at an angle or I could put it right here like this in the center. I haven't quite decided on that yet, but let me start to get some things out here and figure out what I'm going to do. Find all the little papers that I made. Aha. Ooh. This actually reminds me of the last Matisse thing I showed you where one side was the positive and the other side was the negative shape. You know what? That kind of reminds me of Matisse, so I think I'm going to do that. And I'm just going to glue this down on the back with my glue stick, which it looks like my daughter basically used it all up, so I might have to go get another glue stick really quick here. She's 4, so she doesn't really always handle the glue the correct way. Found another glue stick, so we're good to go. But remember, you don't have to glue down, but if you glue down, everything will hold together better. So let me glue this down and then just think of the next thing I want to do. You can use liquid glue if you want, or like I said, if you don't have glue, don't worry about it. Just arrange the paper and take a picture of it. Okay, so I've got my 2 shapes. Now let's see what else I could add to this. This glitter tape is kind of interesting. I wonder if I could place some at random points on my, actually not completely random, but just at places on my paper. Because this would be considered a tint. It's more of a light blue. So it's blue plus a color for my little monochromatic scheme going on here. I know this glitter tape might not show up very well in the video, but I'm going to use it. So now I'm going to work with something called a diagonal. You won't really be able to see the diagonal, but take a look at this. If I put that sticker, if I put my glitter sticker up here and my other glitter sticker not quite in the same direction, my eye is going to see that these are off-centered, and it's going to make that connection that this is kind of at a diagonal. And diagonals in art are very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's on the tip of my tongue. I'll think of it in a minute. Okay, so let's see what else we got. Let's see if we can work in some of these. Oh, you know what? I'm thinking I want to go in with these. Actually, I think I'm ready for some black paper. Let me get that black paper out. Actually, this fuzzy furry dog is pretty cool. So I'm going to use that as some torn paper. I'm trying to figure out what this art is really about. Is it really about that word discovery, or is it about something else? So the reason I'm putting these papers, these ones on the inside and those ones on the outside, is it's kind of going into that opposite point of view again. So also the reason I wanted to go with the dark is I just wanted to bring in some contrasting elements. Remember how we talked about contrast? Contrast is opposites. So that when you use opposites, darks and lights in your work, it can sometimes create more visual interest. So I'm just going to put these around. By the way, at this point, if you kind of have the gist of what this lesson is all about, you do not have to keep watching. Once you kind of understand the direction you're going and what you're doing, you don't have to watch the whole video. So I'm just going to put these down. So I don't know, maybe that's enough, you know? It could be enough just to do that. Maybe I'm kind of trying to create a collage that's a little bit more elemental, you know? Maybe that's all that I need to do. I mean, I could add some more things on there, but I'm really liking this positive shape and the outside shape that's a negative and the high contrast. That might be all I need to do. I might not need to do anything else. But see, that's why it's really up to you. You could put some other things down and discover something that's completely different. Like, actually, I'm noticing that these colors on that neutral brown background kind of make it maybe that makes it a little bit more cohesive, that those colors aren't fighting as much against each other as they are here. This is very graphic. This pops more, where this, because of the brown, kind of softens up the composition. Anyway, friends, I hope you learned a little bit about collage and our color families and composition. I really enjoyed having you watch this today. I hope you learned a lot. And don't forget to email me a photo of your work.